Hello everyone, I'm Tsunami. Welcome to my new video. Today I will show you my most favorite art supplies. And I also want to show you what I'm using them for in my mixed media art. So there's a lot of stuff on my desk here I want to show you. I have to clean up my desk and then we can start. Lean back, relax and enjoy watching. We start with the painting grounds, so I thought it's good to start with my most favorite sketchbooks. And these are the Talens Art Creation Mixed Media sketchbooks. I have them in a few different sizes. These two I'm using a lot right now. This one I'm using most right now because of the 100-day challenge. It has a really nice size and you can use kind of a landscape size or only one of these. This is the smallest one you can get from Art Creation, from Talens. And I really like the paper. You can use everything on it, in it, and the price is really good. More the low price sketchbook, but I really love it. And this is the big one. It's kind of A4 size. It's 29 to 20. And next I want to show you my favorite papers to paint on. First of all, I prefer to work on hot pressed paper, watercolor paper, or a very smooth mixed media paper like this one. And I'm really enjoying the Hanemühle Britannia hot pressed paper. It's a cellulose paper, 300 GSM. I really like to work on it because it's really smooth. There's no haptic here in any case, so it's very smooth and I like it very much. It's a very white paper. Look at the difference here. I really enjoy the more yellowish paper as well, but it has to be smooth. If I want to paint on a cold pressed paper, I really like the Harmony one. It's also a cellulose paper with 300 GSM, and I really enjoy cotton paper recently, and this is the Expression from Hanemühle. It has a very fine structure on it, not too much. I don't like too much structure, and I recently found the Boahong paper. This is also a hot pressed one. It's a 100 cotton paper and it's very good. This is the artist's quality. I prefer cotton paper for the watercolors, and for the aqua markers I prefer the hot pressed cellulose paper because I think you can get smoother lines with the markers on cellulose paper. This is my experience. Perhaps your experience is different, then please tell me in the comments what do you think it's better for aqua markers. Let me see, we will take a bit of cellulose cold pressed one out here to test a few things. What I always need are these clips. I have them everywhere. I always use them for my sketchbooks. In this case, if I want to paint in it and it's always like this, then I use them. And I have no problems with the pages. They are available in a lot of different sizes, but I prefer the big ones. So as here, I can make it like this. And this one is always on here. And then I can't live without watercolor. Watercolor, perhaps you already know it if you watch my videos. My favorite brand is Schminke. This is my favorite palette with all the colors I really love. Here are a few granulating ones, which I almost never use. And here I have one for taking outside with me, nature colors. It's a nature color set of Schminke Horadam. They are all Schminke Horadam. This one is not from the set. This is the neutral tint. This one. It always is in here. For watercolor, I prefer round watercolor brushes and different sizes. This one is my absolute favorite, most favorite one. It's a Van Gogh size 8. I really like them. They are not in a higher price class, and I'm using everything I can get from Bösner here. It's a German art supplies shop. Or here I got a few from Temu. Suiting artist brush in 12, and this one I also like this size. This is 11. This one I'm using all the time, and this one I'm using all the time. Perhaps I also need one more brush for bigger washes, but I don't know which I should buy, and I didn't really need it yet. And this one is my favorite thin brush. This was in an Upcrate box a while ago, and I really love this brush. And I ordered a few more of this traveling brushes. Different brand, of course, but I will show you in one of my next videos when they arrive. I will show you my most favorite colors. Oh, I ordered a while ago the whole Schminke palette, the dot card with 140 colors. Then I felt again that Schminke Horadam is really my most favorite watercolor brand. I'm not sponsored, by the way, but I really like them. If you want to see the swatching video, I will link it in my info box. My most favorite color, you can see because it's really empty, is my transparent green gold. I'm using it all the time. It's a really nice color. And I also really love Quinacridone Red Light. I totally in love with the Perilane Violet. It's such an amazing, beautiful color. Then here, it's almost empty as well. I love the Prussian green. I also like the dark blue. These are my most favorite colors in my Schminke palette. And what's new in my palette for a while now is the Mars Black. I really like the Mars Black, but mostly this is granulating, but mostly I use these. I don't know why. I always pick them, and here and there I try to use different colors to switch a bit and play around, but these are my most favorite ones from the Schminke Horadam palette. Then there are a few other ones I really like. A while ago I got these neon watercolors from Paul Rubens. These ones here. I always put them in my new paints in a palette so I can use them easier. I don't like to use the wet colors out of the tube so much. I like it more when they are dried. And I really love them. I'm using them for special details here and there in my paintings and mostly in my sketchbook. If you can see, I really love the pink. It's such a nice pink. And I'm using, oh, it's a bit dirty here because I use it a lot with blues like this in combination, and with a special indigo I'm coming up next, but this is the neon yellow here. It's so bright and shiny. These are the colors I am using most of this set, and I have a white gouache in here as well, and I need it all the time. It's always with me when I'm going outside, but I take too much with me when I'm going outside. Every time I have my backpack full of art supplies, and that's really heavy, and sometimes I can't draw or paint on my way, so I have them with me and only have to carry all this stuff. Yeah, but these are my most favorites from here. And then a few weeks ago, and this was one of my last videos, I tried the Aqua watercolors and I'm absolutely in love with them. I put them also in this little palette here. If you want to watch this video, then I will also link it for you. In this set, I absolutely love all these colors. I love them so much that I think I love them as much as my Schminke Horadam watercolors right now. And I want to order a few more. I only have these 6 colors. And here, this indigo is one of the most beautiful indigos I've ever seen, together with the sap green. This is sap green, so beautiful. Perhaps if you can see, except for the fluorescent, for the neon colors, I really like more muted colors or more dirty colors. Sometimes I like to use the lemon yellow as well. But this is what I'm going for the whole time. Sometimes I'm using a bit different stuff, but yeah. And what I always need, and it's also kind of a supply, is this cloth. This one is for my studio. When I'm sitting here and painting here, I always use this one. Perhaps I have to put it in the laundry at some day. And if I'm outside, when I'm outside, I'm using this one, and I always need it for my brushes. In combination with the watercolors, I'm using colored pencils all the time. So let's show you. And I always make my layers in watercolors, and this can be one layer or more layer of watercolor, and then I'm using colored pencils. What I really enjoy are the Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencils. They are so good for sketching. I mostly use the red one. I'm using the blue one. Mostly I'm using the blue one and the indigo one. The cool thing on the Kohl Erase pencils is it looks better as a sketch underneath the watercolor, and you also can erase them if you like. It's very easy to erase them. I prefer make my sketches with the Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencils. And then I really like my polychromos. There's here. It's almost new one because indigo. I always use indigo. I love indigo for the shadows, The polychromos are oil-based colored pencils, and they are very soft, but not too soft. You can draw perfect details with them, and yeah, I'm enjoying them a lot. I will show you my set of 72. I got them as I was a teenager. I wished them for my birthday because I wanted to have them so much. And since I got them, I don't know in which age, perhaps I was 15, I can't remember anymore. And then I used them all the time. Since this time, a few of them, I think this one could be an original one from over 20 years ago. And colors like this I bought individually when they were small. This one is very small, but it's not the original one of this. Brings me to another thing. I'm using colored pencils a lot, so I can highly recommend this thing here. This is a polychromo. This is my indigo one, my old indigo one, and I use them until I'm really not able anymore to sharpen them, and this is perfect. This makes your pencil longer. I think you can get it in different sizes. I'm using this, I don't know, for 20 years. It's a very old one and I really like it. It's not very comfortable in the hand. Perhaps there's something better on the market, but I really like it. Then if I came back to my colored pencils again, I don't know, after I had my acrylic phase, and after I came back to my colored pencils again in combination with the watercolors, then I found these ones, the Artex colored pencils. You only can get them in a set. You can get them in a set of 72 and in a set of 126, but you can't buy them individually. That's a shame because I really love them and I'm using them all the time. And my favorite colors, like the indigo, this is the second one from the 72 set. It's so small and I can't use it anymore. And this is the one from the 126 set, and it's already small. They have cute designs on the packages and I really like them. The good thing on the Artex colored pencils, they are wax based and they are really soft. Really soft, and it's so much fun to work with them. I always use them in my sketchbooks because I don't know how light fastened they are. So my cam stopped and I didn't realize it. I have to do something again. We were at the colored pencils from Artex and I told you that they are very soft and I don't know how light fastened they are. And I have in my window a light fasten test, which I made in the video in which I tested the Artex colored pencils for you. I will link it also in my info box, of course. Then I also really love the Carandache Luminous colored pencils. They are also wax based and they are so soft, softer than the Artex colored pencils. And here you can see that lines are not, perhaps if you concentrate, but the best lines are with the polychromos if you want to go into details, and I really like them, and they are really high quality colored pencils. These are the 3 brands of colored pencils I'm using all the time. And also, of course, the Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencils for the sketches. Then I made this. after this, and the cam didn't record. So after a background of watercolors, I use them on top of them, but mostly I use more watercolors, a few more layers, and then I go on top with my colored pencils. Oh, this indigo is so good. This is the polychroma one. And then I think we didn't speak about the whites I'm using. I always have with me, and I use all the time, white gouache. It doesn't matter which brand. I have this Talens extra fine quality white gouache, which I am using for details and highlights. And the good thing of gouache is you can water it down and make a transparent glaze on your painting, so you can see the colors below through the white gouache still. And I have this Jelly Roll Pen size 10 from Sakura, and I really like that you can make finer lines with it, also for details. And recently I bought this one. It's from Sakura Jelly. It's filled with white ink, a brush pen, and here I used it, and it's so good. I really like it. And here it's the same like with the gouache. It's not very opaque, and you can glaze with it, and you also, if you push here, there comes more color, more ink out of it, and I really like it. And I also wanted to show you again these two. These are water brush pens, which you can fill with water. They are for painting outside, and if my water bottle is empty because I was thirsty or I forgot my water at home, so I always have one of these with me in a round brush and a flat brush form, to use them on the run. And the next thing I wanted to show you are the wax-based crayon lipsticks. I call them lipsticks because they are like lipsticks. And I show you again. You can use them, and they are very soft. You can smear them around, but after a while, after a few minutes, they dry completely, and you can go on top of them with a lot of other mediums. So I'm using them for backgrounds, like you can see here, and I prefer to use them with a bit of water. They are slightly water soluble, and I prefer a flat brush because it's not so soft like my watercolor brushes. And then I work again, because I don't like the white dots from the paper. I like a smooth background. And then if I like the texture, here it's dried. This is dried from a while ago, and you can't smudge it anymore, smear it anymore around. This is so cool. And if you like the texture, you can go on top of it and let it dry again, and same like here, it will dry, and you can use fountain pen on top of it. A friend of mine uses fountain pen on top of it. I'm using markers, and we'll come to this in a second. I really love them. Perhaps you have any recommendations. I'm a bit afraid that these are from Søstrene Grenes. This is a shop for stuff, for art supplies, home stuff, like nice tissues, and a shop with everything, every small stuff. And these are not expensive, they are very cheap. I think 6 of them in a package cost $5, and I really love them. But I'm afraid, what I wanted to say, that they Søstrene Grenes don't think sometimes they want to have them in their shop anymore, and then I can't get them anymore. And I looked for other possibilities like the, I think, Faber Castell gelatos or Marabu. I don't know, perhaps you know if they are similar to them, and I can replace them with them if I need it. So on top of this, I want to show you how I use them. This is a very good example. I use them in the background, as you can see here, and on top markers and Neocolor 2. I will show you how I use them. So I do this really often in this way, and they are perfect for that. Markers. I like to use felt tip markers and brush tip markers. I think these are lettering markers from Castell, and I also use these Pit Artist brush pens, ink brush pens from Faber Castell. I have a few more of different markers I also use. These are my favorites. I like the Molotow, the black markers. They are also, if you sketch with them, they are permanent then, and you can go on top also with watercolors or water stuff again, and they don't smear. I really like them, and I have this set. Microns, of course, I also use microns here and there, but these are my favorites. And you can go on top here, and okay, I also could use the markers on top of watercolors as well, but I don't know why. I love to work mixed media on these wax crayons here. And in combination with the Carandache Neocolor 2, for these kind of illustrations, I really love them. I don't have them for so long now, but I'm really enjoy them. My favorite color is the Prussian blue here. I always use the Prussian blue and the white, perhaps here the Carmine red, and I use them on top of these wax-based background crayons. It's perfect to go over with the Carandache Neocolor 2. And the cool thing about them is you can lay down them as they are, or you can paint them with water. They are really high pigmented, and I love them so much. You also can mix them together if you want to have another color. I am taking them with me if I'm going outside to paint or meet some friends, then I have them with me. But also a few of them, not the whole set, of course. And then I have to mix here and there, and they are easy to mix. You can also put them in a palette. Oh, this is another thing I wanted to show you. I recommend a ceramic palette. I use it all the time. This one here is from Meeden, and you can mix them also in here in a palette. Very easy, and use them like a watercolor. So you have a lot of possibilities to use these crayons, and I also use them for highlight something, like you can see here. They are opaque. You can go always on top of the layers with these colors, also with the lighter colors, and that's why I love them so much. They are so various to use. On top of my paintings, I really like to work with acrylic markers also. Here on top I used for the mushrooms, I don't know if you can see it, for the mushrooms acrylic marker. And my favorites are the Molotow acrylic markers. I think these are the best. I also use a set of Castell postcards, but I prefer the Molotows, and I use them for the eyes, of course, and for some mushrooms in different colors. And the cool thing of this technique is you always can go on top and on top, also with the acrylic markers, so you can build up your little illustration step by step. Also on this background with watercolors you can build up your illustration like this and use all the stuff I showed you. Also on top of here I use these crayons, but they are not really opaque, they are more translucent. And I'm using also very fine acrylic pens, acrylic markers, like this one. This is from Posca, and I really like it for details. It's so cool, and you can use them always on top if you forgot something and want to make highlights. I think these are really great in this very thin size, I think 0.7 millimeters. And I also here use them here for the foreground. It's easy to use them on top of the waxed base crayons, also on top of the Neocolor 2, if you can see. Oh, yeah. And after this I come back with my markers here and there for the outlines. And also with the black markers I go over the watercolors, watercolor background, or use them on top of here. This is also possible. And here and there I'm using pencil from Pentel. I think it was in a scroller box. If I need a pencil, I'm using this for sketching if I need it. But most of the time I'm sketching with the Colorase pencils. I don't need pencils, normal graphite pencils, so much. And also one of my favorites are watercolor markers. And I have two favorite brands. These are the Molotow Aqua brush, color brush markers, and the Faber Castell Goldfarbe Aqua dual markers. I really love them. I think these are my very favorites. The cool thing about the dual markers, Goldfarbe Aquas, is you have this brush tip on the one side and the very fine liner tip on the other side. I know you all know the Tombows. The Tombows are nice as well, but the Tombows are not as juicy as these both. Perhaps sometimes I don't want to have something juicy, then I use the Tombows. But most of the time I want the juiciness. They are juicy, very juicy. And the cool thing about Aqua markers are, of course, that they are water soluble. But on this paper in my sketchbook, okay, here it's perfect. But watercolor paper is better for them. I love to use them on watercolor paper. I made a whole tutorial for you how to use watercolor markers, and I also will link this for you in my description or in the info box. Of course, you can easily blend them, you can create backgrounds with them, like watercolor backgrounds, and go on top of them. I use them in combination with my other supplies on top of the watercolor, for example. Or you can use them only as a marker here on top of this one. But they are not permanent and water-based, and yeah, you can blend them with water, it's obvious. And yeah, if you want to have something permanent, more permanent, then use the ink. Pitt ink brush pens, Pitt artist pen brush once from Faber Castell. I have to say, Faber Castell is one of my favorite brands. They have good colored pencils, good markers, good aqua markers, and you can get them individually. This is also very good, and in a lot of colors. These you can also get them individually, but I think you can get more colors of these ones, of the Faber Castell Gold Faber Aqua ones. So these are my most favorite supplies right now. I'm using them all the time in my sketchbook. I'm sketching every day right now because of the 100-day project, and I really love these supplies. So we are at the end of this video now. I hope you enjoyed watching, and perhaps you found supplies which you didn't know before, or perhaps I inspired you today to try out supplies together which you didn't try out together yet. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. This would be a great support for me and my little channel here. Thank you so much. Then see you next Friday. Have an awesome day or night wherever you are on this planet, or whenever you watch this video. Stay creative. Your Søstrene.